Ah. Hi, Ambrose.
Hi, Jenny Brothers.
What's new?
It was a really nice day today. The weather was perfect, and yeah, it was. I don't. That's kind of new because it's been really rainy and stormy here, and people are just getting their power back over here. We did not lose power, remarkably, but
Wait, what?
I know, right? It was super rainy and stormy, and our neighbor lost a giant limb from their tree, and yeah, so. But today was nice.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't really get much in the way of weather. We got some rain. It rained the other night. No storms to speak of. Lovely the last couple days. It's like good sleeping weather, as we like to say here in the upper Midwest. It was an eventful day, though. We went and saw Joe and I went and saw Oppenheimer today. Many thoughts on that. We got a flat tire on the way home, but we have, in fact, remembered how to change the tire. Oh, look, hang on. We have a special visitor. It's Marla. It is. It's Marla. Go drink your water, kitten. Yes.
She never comes out.
I know. Well, she was outside. She likes it out there. So now it was a taxing journey. So now she will go to bed for a while because it's very stressful. So, So we went to Oppenheimer, which I got to tell you is an outstanding movie. It's very good. I highly recommend it because it's good. It's not a no-brainer though. You're gonna think your way through it, and some of the things that you're gonna think you're not gonna necessarily like. So yeah.
I've not seen Oppenheimer yet, but I did see the Barbie movie, and I loved it. It is irreverent and hysterically funny, and yet at the same time, the social commentary is so dead on. It makes you want to cry a little bit.
Oh, yay!
So,
So yeah, and so yeah, that was today's big outing because we live in East Jordan now, so and there's not a lot of things that are close to East Jordan, so it's 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, and that's kind of the way it is if you want to see stuff when you're up here. So that's fine. It's worth it. We went to a tiny little theater over in Harbor Springs. There it is, Harbor Springs. I couldn't remember the name of Harbor Springs today for whatever reason, which was nice because it was a really nice theater. Harbor Springs is a lot of wealthy people, so it was really nice. Everything was super clean. Literally the nicest bathrooms I've ever seen at a movie theater, like ever. Like I was like, it was like one of those places where I'm like, I would be comfortable dropping a deuce here, Like this is the kind of bathroom that because it was complete. You had your own stall, like completely enclosed. Nobody could hang their head over. You couldn't even hear if there were other people in the bathroom. It's the kind of place where you can have literally a guilt-free blowout. So, not that I had to, but I did regret that I didn't have to. So I'm like, this would have been a perfect place to drop the kids off at the pool. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're actually here today to talk about this great show right here. Hang on, I gotta bring it out of the screen. There it is. This great show right here, Somebody Somewhere, which I believe is one of the best shows that you're probably not watching.
Yeah, probably one of the best shows. It's probably in my top 5 at least.
It's a bold statement. Yeah, I would say so too. I would say it is for me. It's so easy to watch. So for starters, as far as where you can find the show, real quick. So Somebody Somewhere, the program creators are Hannah Bose and Paul Thureen, and it's where you can find it. This is one of those you have to have Max in order to get it. Max, which used to be HBO Max, which used to be HBO, now it's just Max. So it's an HBO original series. If you don't have Max, you should think about getting it. I know you have so many choices for streaming. I feel like that just wall to wall, that Max has some of the best programming in terms of they have a good quality list of movies. They have some really great original programming. They have a whole hub of different things. So it's Max, it's HBO, it's Discovery Channel now. So there's a ton of stuff that you can watch. I feel like as far as getting bang for your buck, that Max is one of those things where you're getting a lot of bang for your buck.
Yes, I agree. One that I probably won't consider dropping. Like right now we have Apple, and I'll probably drop Apple and pick up Hulu again, or drop Hulu and pick up Paramount, you know, so there's like one that we're always picking up and dropping, but HBO Max is probably one I won't drop. It's probably one I'll always hang on to.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it as well. I keep finding, because I'm addicted to Game of Thrones,
Right.
but there's like a whole bunch of original stuff, and this is just one of those pieces. So yeah, Max, you can send me my check anytime you want for promoting your whatever. So
You're
anyway,
whatever.
you're welcome. All right, so let's talk Somebody Somewhere. What it's about. Do you mind if I take this part, Ann Brothers?
Not at all, Jenny Brothers.
Okay. The best way to describe the show is that it's a dramedy, meaning that it will make you laugh, like seriously, like belly laughs. And I'm thinking of season 2, episode 2, the bathroom scene. Holy moly! And then it will make you cry, and it sneaks up on you. Ultimately, the show is about somebody, in this case, Sam Miller, and the somewhere is Manhattan, Kansas. And it turns out Bridget Everett, who plays Sam, is actually from Kansas. So this show is not biographical, but it's somewhat biographical in the fact that we're kind of, she was a swimmer, she lived in Kansas. There you go.
She's an amazing singer.
Such a great singer. So the show, the somebody is Sam, the somewhere is Manhattan, Kansas, and this show is about finding your home again as an adult when life does what it does to people, which is, and the importance of building relationships that can bring you home again. And if you happen to be in your 40s and 50s and are kind of hitting those 40s and 50s hard, mentally, physically, emotionally, then I think you'll relate really well to this show on a lot of levels. And that's one of the things that I can't get over is like how she's, it's a show that gets in your head because there's some part of the show you can relate to somehow.
I agree. Good description.
Thanks. All right, the cast. Go ahead, Ann.
So this is Sam, and she's played by Bridget Everett. And if you ever watched the Amy Schumer show, she was on it sometimes, and she got her start as a stand-up comedian, and she is so funny. Her stand-up is hilarious. But that's the reason why I started watching the show, was because I had seen her stand-up, and I knew I really liked her, and so that's why I started watching the show. So the show is so Sam is played by Bridget Everett. The show starts a year after Sam has returned to Manhattan, Kansas, to care for her sister Holly when she's diagnosed with cancer. And it has been about 6 months since Holly died. So we pick up 6 months after Holly died. Sam can be described as sad and lonely and lost and generally unhappy. She runs. Whenever there's anything that she doesn't like, she runs. Usually she hits hard, and I mean like she emotionally, like she's one of those people that can, she'll fire off a couple of zingers at you that hit you personally, and then she runs, so that's her way of dealing with anything that makes her scared or angry or unhappy. She hits and runs. But she has a big heart, a very big heart. So it's probably one of the reasons why she hits and runs, because she probably gets hurt easily. So this is just her way of not getting hurt. She works as at a test grading center, grading standardized test essays.
Yeah, dream come true, that one. Yeah. And I think one of the things about Sam is that, and Joe pointed this out, is that she's not a typical leading lady. She's not petite and cute. She's not, I'm so weak, and she's not that sort of ingenue type. She's a full-on broad, and that's not easy to. It's not easy to live in this world and look like that and be like that. And especially if you want to be true to yourself and who you are, it's hard to do in that body. So, yeah, for real. So she's essentially our protagonist. Go ahead, Ann.
Oh, she lives in Holly's house. Her sister who has passed away, she still lives in her house, but she will not sleep in Holly's bed, so she sleeps on the couch. So basically, this house is kind of like it's almost like a it's almost like Holly's tomb. It's just
like a memorial. Yeah,
memorial. Nothing has changed. She has a difficult relationship with her other sister Trish and her mother, and she's grappling with her place now that she has returned home. Things begin to change for Sam when she is approached by a coworker after she has an emotional breakdown. spurred from reading an essay that she was grading. And that coworker is Joel.
Yay, Joel! Yeah, and the thing is, when you're that first 10 minutes of the opening of the series where we're kind of getting to know Sam a little bit, you're like, ooh, yeah, ooh. And then we meet Joel, and Joel, played by Jeff Hiller, who is, I believe, is the, Sam is the heart of this show, and Joel is the soul of the show. So he's played by Jeff Hiller, who is a really fantastic and I think until this point underutilized comedic performer. Big in, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Their New York theater group, not theater comedy group. Crap, why can't I think of the name of it? Amy Poehler's group, the one that she started.
Let me see.
Oh, why can't I think of it?
Keep going. I'll look it up.
Okay. But so anyway, Jeff Hiller plays Joel. It turns out that Joel and Sam went to high school together. She does not initially remember him, but he remembers her. She is on his radar immediately. And it turns out that they were in show choir together, and she doesn't remember, and she finally admits that to him. But you can describe Joel as the total opposite of Sam. He's positive, he's hopeful, he's involved, he's a respected member of his local Presbyterian church. And on the down low, he hosts a weekly event, or kind of an inclusive event called Choir Practice. And it's through Joel that we learn that Sam is a very talented singer, and Joel convinces Sam to come to choir practice. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Underground Citizens Brigade.
The Upright
Citizens Brigade. Thank you. So and you might have seen Jeff in some episodes of 30 Rock. He was in the movie Ghost Town, he plays the naked guy in Ghost Town, which is an awesome little movie, Ricky Gervais movie. So yeah, just a really talented, super funny dude. Just glad to see him getting some due here in this show because he deserves it. So, all right. So other notable cast members. These are kind of the big three as far as I'm concerned. Actually, I think I put down that it was her younger sister, but I think Trisha's the middle sister.
I think so too. I think Sam is the youngest.
Yeah, so it's Holly, Trisha, and then Sam. So she's played by Mary Catherine Garrison, and she's a classic type A Midwestern suburban basic bitch. She's married, she's got a daughter, she's got the house with all the basic shit in it. She owns a shop that sells basic shit. She runs the business with her friend Charity. Possible a more basic bitch? Maybe, Ann Brothers, maybe.
No, I think she totally is. Anybody that did is even more basic.
Yeah. And Trisha is very judgmental of Sam and how Sam lives her life. And we get that right away, episode 1, season 1, of that relationship between Trish and Sam. Sam's dad, Ed, who is played by Mike Haggerty, geniusly, brilliantly, and unfortunately, Mike Haggerty passed away just before they started shooting season 2, which is heartbreaking because he's really great in the show, and it does sort of leave a little bit of a gap in season 2, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But he's a salt of the earth guy. He's a farmer, so he is married to Mary Jo, which is Sam's mom, who's played by Jane Brody, and she is an alcoholic and a bona fide handful.
And I want to say, brilliantly played by Jane Brody.
Yeah, so good. This is Ed and Mary Jo are sort of this. They're the characters that seem to bring out some of the most emotion in me, because you just feel like, God, this is, yeah. And part of it is that if you've got aging parents, and you're going through watching your parents sort of age and kind of decline and melt away, again, that's that thing I said earlier where you sort of relate to that hard, especially if you're in your 40s and 50s. That's part of it, that idea that your parents are changing and you see all the cracks in your parents as they age, and then you start to see those cracks within you and you're like, oh, I hate that. So these are these are the characters that I would say endure throughout both seasons 1 and 2. like I said, even though Mike Haggerty has passed away and he's not in season 2, his presence is felt very closely in season 2 because his character, even though he's, the actor has died, they do keep his character alive through a series of letters and the fact that he's gone to visit his brother. So he is still a live presence in season 2. Other notable cast members, one of my favorite, I would say, supporting characters, Fred Rococo, played by Murray Hill. We meet Fred when Sam goes to choir practice for the first time. Agriculture professor at Kansas State, all around awesome soul. He's a trans man and has some of the best lines in the series, and I would say is a very important, mature, wise presence for both Sam and Joel throughout the series. My favorite line from Fred Rococo, he's helping Sam cope with something and he slips her like this roller dog from a local gas station that says, "This will make you feel better." And she's like, these sit around in the temperature danger zone all day. And Fred's like, "Hey man, sometimes you have to roll the dice for flavor." And I just think that's the funniest line. I'm like, we've all been there. We've all rolled the dice for flavor. Indeed. You have Rick, who is Trisha's husband. That's all I'm going to say about Rick. Shannon, which is Trisha's teenage daughter, Sam's beloved niece. We see her a little bit in season 1. We don't see much of her in season 2 because she's gone off to college. We have Charity, which is Trisha's best friend and business partner in season 1. We don't really see much of her in season 2 for obvious reasons. And then we're introduced to Brad in season 2. This is Joel's love interest. He's just a good dude. You're not quite sure what to make of Brad, but then as you get to know Brad, you're like, he's just a really good guy. Well played. I can't think of the actor that plays him. I didn't put that in there, but just.
It is Tim Bagley.
Tim Bagley. Very well played by Tim Bagley. Really excellent chemistry between he and Jeff Hiller, I think. It's kind of an unusual relationship, but it turns out that these two people have just kind of found each other. It's great. Great. And would you like to take this? So why you should watch?
Yes, you should watch the show because it's a great slice of life show. That's exactly what it is. It's an excellent writing. There are more small moments in the show than big ones, but the small moments hit hard, and the big moments that do happen hit even harder, and they certainly do. It's about the minutia of life, which is hard to find nowadays because you have to do it really well or else it's boring. And so if you can do the minutia of life minutia of life well, you can probably do anything well in story making. So, but it's so well written and funny and sad and smart and relevant that you just want to keep watching. It has so much humanity. Even characters that you don't necessarily like, you have you see their humanity and you see what was good and what, even some of the characters that make you mad, you're like, you can see that how they affected how they affect other characters, and how that even though you don't like them very much now, that they had this there was something there. They're still loved. How do you negotiate being so angry at somebody that you love so much? And so that's an important aspect of this. It makes you happy even while it makes you cry. Sometimes you laugh like you haven't laughed in a long time, and you learn to embrace the C word.
Yes.
And that's not cancer.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that's a word that I would not deal with for a really long time. And I've started to embrace it and kind of take the power out of it as I've gotten older. Thanks, Game of Thrones. I think the Hound started it for me.
Yeah, and then, I kind of always thought that it was like, if the only people that use that word against you are mean and angry. So if you, I don't know, I've never had a problem with the word because anybody that's ever used the word is not worth knowing, and then taking the power out of it and taking it back is hilarious.
For sure. Yeah, and it becomes one of those things where Sam's sister Trish uses it because she's so angry with her friend Charity, and then you know, it becomes something that she has to learn to deal with because it becomes this piece of prosperity for her, you know, and it's just like, you know, and you have Trisha's character who's Christian, and she has a certain way she does things and a certain way that she feels life should be lived, and she's very conservative. And a lot of that gets blown up for her by the time we get halfway through season 1. And we really start to see her transformation into somebody different in season 2. And it's one of my favorite character arcs is Trisha's arc.
Me too.
Because, you know, she could have easily just been this one-dimensional foil for Sam, and then what she does instead is she becomes one of Sam's biggest advocates, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. I really like what they did with her character. If it's okay with you, I'll talk about the small moments.
Yes, Jenny Brothers.
Okay, so the small moments, like I said, this show is about my favorite saying ever is little things make big things, and this show is such a testament to the idea of small moments. The thing about this show is that there's no superheroes, there's no multiverse, there's no violence, there's no raping, there's none of the shit that we love in our really dramatic shows. There's none of that. It's the type of stuff that regular people go through all the time: crisis of confidence, midlife crisis, infidelity, loss of loved ones, you know, alcoholism. It's just the day-to-day stuff. And there's so many wonderful small moments that you watch and you want to keep watching. So some examples of some of those small moments are when Sam, you know, she's been invited to choir practice by Joel. She's not going to go. She goes to the pool to swim because she's a swimmer. And while she's doing her laps alone, she sees this group of 4 older women who are just having the greatest time together. And it's that little moment that prompts her to go to choir practice. And then she finds out that choir practice is this awesome thing. And we get to see this amazing transformation and big moment for her. Sam's conversation with her sisters, Holly's girlfriend by the boat. That is a great one, Ann Brothers. Ed's conversation with Fred, where he tells Fred that Mary Jo is in rehab. That's one of my favorite. That might be my favorite scene, and that's the scene I have pictured here. You know, Fred Rococo is an agricultural professor at Kansas State. Sam asks Fred to come and help her father with his farm, and so he kind of does an evaluation of the farm, and he's just standing there. This is after Sam's mom is gone. Mary Jo's gone off to rehab, and you know, Ed hasn't really told anybody what's happened. He's ashamed about what's happened to Mary Jo. And so he finally just kind of comes clean to Fred. And it's maybe a 2-minute scene. And Ed kind of gets it out that, you know, Mary Jo's in rehab. And Fred just kind of turns to him and he's like, that's really tough. And just pats him on the shoulder and says, it's going to be okay. And it just kills me because it's so simple and beautifully acted. And it's just 2 dudes just having a moment, man. That's like I said, it's one of my favorite moments in the entire show. So after Mary Jo, the next is after Mary Jo comes home from rehab, and we just see her sitting outside of the barn, deciding, and then actually watching her walk into the barn. The barn is where she keeps all of her hidden booze stashed. And so we see her back from rehab making the decision to start drinking again, just in that little tiny sequence. Trisha bonding with her refrigerator that she gets herself for her birthday, hilarious. Ooh, yeah, good one. And you added this one where Trisha tells her mom she's going to Wichita.
Only a sentence or 2, but boom.
Boom. Just like that, the power dynamic in that family is on its side. So it's a big moment. It's a little tiny big moment. Sam and Trish bonding over Trisha's new pillow. Oh my God, that scene is funny. That's where the C word comes in. Sam and Joel having tiny teenies. Darlene's death. Ooh, yeah. That's it. That's both. That's a small moment and a big moment. Gloria. No Streisand. No Judy. No Brannigan. The first time Joel lies to Sam about Brad. That's a good one. And Sam's Cinderella moment. And Andy, you put that in there. Tell me her Cinderella moment. What's is that the one?
It's the very last scene of the last episode where she gets home from the wedding.
Oh my God, the shoe. You're right.
It's her Cinderella moment. She goes home with only one shoe.
She does. And I'm like, there are walks of shame, and then there's that walk of shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's awesome. Anne, why don't you take the big moments?
Okay. So the big moment, Sam's first visit to choir practice is a big moment. That's where she goes from being a loner to including people in her life. The SLS toilet scene, which is the
That's when you know who your friends are.
toilet scene. You can't stop laughing about it.
Well, it's just that they're both talking on the phone and they keep muting. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna mute," and then they mute, and then it's just like, "Oh my god!" Because I don't like to talk on the phone when I'm on the toilet. I do not, and so it is such a great moment because I'm like, "Oh, they friends now."
Oh yeah. Sam sings her song to Joel, and that will make you cry.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sam tells Trisha about her husband's affair with Charity. Oh, another big moment is Darlene's funeral. Sam's apology to Joe, because Sam doesn't apologize. That's a new thing for her.
Mm-hmm.
Sam quits her job grading essays. So freaking funny. Oh man, I think I'm gonna quit.
Hey.
Sam and Joel's confrontation, which is brutal, and then Sam decides her roles aren't serving her anymore, which was that was a big thing for Sam.
Yeah.
And of course, Fred and Susan's wedding.
Yes. Which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
you learn. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it's just there's a lot of like it's a big moment. This the whole season's been building up to this wedding, so it's a big moment. But then there's so many little moments in the wedding. Trisha upon a star. I mean, she may be a type A bitch, but she's definitely the type A bitch you want running your wedding. So
for real, yes, that's her niche.
And then of course, both of Sam's songs. His Joel's relationship with Brad, Fred's speech about Sam and Trisha's father. It just got all these little beautiful moments in it.
I love what he said about crop rotation, that life is like crop rotation, that, if you want to grow, you got to make change.
Yeah.
Good metaphor. Or is that a simile? I think it's a metaphor.
I think it's a metaphor too. Yes.
Yeah, I get confused about those. And would you like to tackle why you wouldn't watch Somebody Somewhere?
There's absolutely no reason not to watch the show. In fact, why are you still watching us? You're wasting valuable time. Go watch Somebody Somewhere right now. Oh, and I did find this out today. It has been renewed for a third season.
Yes. And I hope that it survives the writers and the actors strike. Because there have been some good shows like I'm thinking of Glow that, of course, did not survive COVID. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling the actors and the writers strike is probably going to do that to some shows. And I'm afraid a show like Somebody Somewhere might be like that, which would be a damn shame. Now, as far as seasons, there's 2 seasons. They're short seasons. Season 1 is 6 episodes. Season 2 is 7 episodes. So it's not like you have to dedicate a ton of time to watching this show. 30-minute episodes, 13 total episodes to this point. And it really is 13 episodes that you'll keep coming back to. Just know this is my 3rd time through this series, just watching it to get ready for the show. And it's just not, it just gets better and better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I can't wait till
I know, right? And I hope this really turns into something for both Bridget Everett and Jeff Hiller. We need to see more of them. We also need to see more of Frederick Coco, Murray Hill. Mm-hmm. It's such a well-balanced, just amazing cast that I would like to see more of all of them. Thank you very much.
There's even some more minor characters that we didn't mention that still pack a wallop. I mean, they practically steal every scene they're in. The one woman who's in charge of the essay center, what's her name?
Irma.
Irma, God, every scene she's in, she fucking steals. And she's only in like maybe a half a dozen scenes, but she owns it every time. I'm like, oh, Irma's coming, yay!
Well, and it's so funny because we meet Irma at the testing center. She's Sam's boss. But then we meet Irma again at choir practice, and she's killing it, singing Gloria Estefan songs, And then we see Irma again at work, where she's stern and, handing, just giving it to Sam. And then we see her again later on the party bus,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, oh man, she's, so that's the nice thing is that this show is chocked full of interesting characters. Sam's neighbor.
Oh, Drew, the drug dealer.
Yeah, exactly. And I forgot to mention, Jenny, Pounder Pass,
Oh God, Pounder Pass, yes.
I should have put that into the small moments because I'm like, oh man, Pounder Pass.
Pounder Pass. Yeah, and this show also, I would say, is sort of obsessed with food, and that's appealing to me because I love food. I love food and drink, and there's a lot of that happening. That's the Sam and Joel's relationship is there's a lot of food, a lot of drinking. They're teenies.
Hot Chardonnay.
Hot Chardonnay. Yeah, that's after in season 2, Mary Jo has had a stroke, and so we see Sam and Trisha often going to the nursing home where Mary Jo is, and Mary Jo is not kind. She's not okay being in there. So it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're walking out to Sam's truck, and she's like, she's like, yeah, I really need a drink. And she's like, I got some hot Chardonnay in the truck. And she pulls out this bottle of Chardonnay, and they literally just start drinking it in the parking lot.
Yeah, there's a ton of food in this. And it's not like the central most important thing, but it's definitely, it's mentioned. You watch people eat, and they're always, and it's always good food. It's like, they're going to the chef, or they're going to get ice cream, or what is it? Tweeny Dweeny.
Tweeny Dweeny.
Or coffee,
Yeah.
It's just like, or the varsity donuts, it's just so
Yes.
great.
Yeah, and they paint a nice face on Manhattan, Kansas. They're like, yay. Well, Manhattan, Kansas is a college town. It's where Kansas State is. So, so that's.
I haven't spent a ton of time in Kansas. Mostly I drive through it to get to someplace else. A couple times I've spent the night before I could continue my drive to get through it to get someplace else. But you can tell that there's a lot of love and respect given to the state and to the town. The town is another character in this, as Kansas is another character in it. And it's you can tell they love and respect it. It's just they show a lot of beauty in this place, which a lot of people are like, it's a flyover state. Also, there's this really good, the music that they have in it is great.
Yes.
Good music, and Darlene was a music teacher, and she said, can you imagine life without music? And they just have all, just like this fun. And of course, it's about Gen Xers, so it's a little nostalgic.
There's a lot of nostalgia, yes. From like, hence the entire scene where they're singing Gloria by, Laura Branigan. So.
Yeah, exactly. After I saw that episode the first time, I put that on my music list.
I did too. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this song. And it's a great song.
It is. I loved it when I was in middle school.
Yes.
And now I was like, not old. She's got an amazing voice. It was a great song. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's yet another reason that especially if you're a Gen Xer, you'll enjoy this because Joel and Sam are Gen Xers, so they're right there with you. So yay.
Yeah, most of the characters in this are Generation X, or really on the young edge of baby boomers. So
yeah. So anyway, you should be watching the show. Again, the show is Somebody Somewhere. It is on Max. I keep wanting to call it HBO Max, but it's not HBO Max anymore. It's just regular Max. Well, so yeah, you should watch it. So Ann Brothers, this is an important question. What are we talking about next?
Well, I think we should talk about the Soo Locks, because you and I are going up to Sault Ste. Marie in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I think we should talk about the Soo Locks. It's an extremely important part of Michigan economy, and it's cool.
So Ann, are you saying that our next one is going to be a smart stuff one? Smart, dumb, fun? Next we're doing, okay, so we're doing a smart one, and that one's going to be on the Soo Locks, which is actually, it's an engineering wonder. It really is.
It's remarkable.
It is.
And while Jenny's taking a class, I'm going to be sitting in the park all day watching freighters go in and out of the lock. So I was like,
that's right. I will be taking a class at Lake Superior State University next week, not this coming week, but next week, on invasive species in Michigan. So
maybe that'll be our next time after that, with invasive species in Michigan.
Sweet. I would love to talk about that because it's nerdy and awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna go run around water and look for invasive species. There are more than one.
Yeah, and I was going to say, while you're doing that, I will do a ton of research on Sulaks, and I will be smarter. I'm going to boat nerd. I'm going to have my coffee. Oh, you know what, Jenny? I've decided that if I have to see live theater, I want to be able to have an iced coffee while I do it. Why we still in theaters like churches, you can have coffee in churches now. They have coffee establishments in churches. Why I can't take a coffee, an iced coffee into a theater? Alive.
Well, I'm not much of a live theater purist.
But it make me have a real iced coffee.
I really feel like I should be able to have popcorn in fucking live theater. You know, I'm like,
why are we still treating it like the Vatican? It's not. Sorry, that was a totally off tangent thing. But that's because I was thinking I can't wait to go to the park and sit, with my iced coffee.
I get it. Yeah, that's cool.
Last night, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had an iced coffee.
Yeah, and that's why I still, I don't like going to the movies. Like I said, went and saw Oppenheimer today, and that's a testament to how much I wanted to see this movie on the big screen. Well, and the irony is that we saw it on the big screen, but honestly, it wasn't that big because it was a tiny little theater. So the TV we have in our front room is about the same size. Yeah, well, that's what I get for not going to an IMAX theater. It's my fault. So,
all right,
but, yeah. All right, well, cool. So then we will be back in 2 weeks, which will be what, the 13th?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll be back from Sault Ste. Marie by then, and we'll have all the
We'll have all the intel we need on the Sulaks. So yeah, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. We shall be talking about the Sulaks. In the meantime, you still got plenty of time before you go to bed. You can get at least 2 episodes of Somebody Somewhere in tonight. Again, it's on Max. Just type in Somebody, and you'll pop up somewhere on your TV. Watch it. You're welcome.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, cool. And brothers, you have a good week. I'm going to plan on having a good week as well. And then, I don't know, are you going to be, we'll talk about, we may or may not get to see each other like in person this week. We'll see.
Yeah. What's going on? All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put that back there. I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to get rid of me, and let's have a good week. Thanks, everybody. Peace.